Hi there, Cancer. How are you? For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Anissa from the Inner Stereo, and for those of you who have been here a long time, welcome back, and I love you a long time. So, this reading is going to be from the 20th until the 30th of October 2018, and as usual, I'm going to be covering your relationship sector, meaning that you can always apply this with anyone in your life. It could be with your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, exes, crushes, fiance, husband, anyone. I'm basically just going to be picking up your relationship energy in general, okay? And also don't forget to check your sun, moon, or Venus sign, because I tend to realize that with my readings I resonate much more with my Venus sign rather than my sun sign. Okay? Beautiful. You know what? When this moon card popped out, it kind of like remembers me, because I have a Cancer moon and also a Cancer rising, and somehow, I don't know about you, but me looking at the moon, or just like the lunar movement alone, kind of like affect me emotionally heavily. And today, like, I was able to see a very, very beautiful moon. It's like a half moon, but it's just so beautiful. With this moon card in here, kind of like talks about you getting in touch with your own emotional state. You know what I mean? You're becoming like very, very friendly with your emotions. You're accepting your emotions as what they really are. You're no longer wanting to kind of like be having like a lot of kind of like trust issues, but there's like a lot of in Indonesia we call it like ikhlas, like meaning that you're so very, very much accepting your nature, your emotions, the good and the bad. Like you're so ready for it. It's a very, very brave and card movement. And when you guys kind of like is in line with your emotions, you became very, very beautiful. Somehow you exude this really, really lunarian energy out of you. You have the Three of Pentacles in here. Kind of like talks about your want to kind of like collaborate with this relationship. You have the Six of Cups in here, so it kind of like talks about nostalgia. I'm kind of like pulling cards for energy, but you know, there's like a lot of energy here that is kind of like coming out. And I feel like the reason why you just wants to get in touch and be friends with your emotions is because there has been like quite a lot of turbulences going on deep within you. In 1 minute, like you can have like a lot of anxieties. You could have like many things that gives you like a lot of worries, and when that happens, it kind of like push you to become the Emperor card in reverse. The Emperor card in reverse, especially in my theinnerstereo, which is my other deck that I own, it kind of like is symbolizes by the war. And with the war, it's like you became very, very defensive when there are people kind of like attacking you, when you are in this thing, when somehow people kind of like poke and give you like a lot of anxieties, a lot of stressful situation. You became very, very defensive, like you're so ready for war. But also at the same time, when things kind of like poke your nurturing side of you, your lovey-dovey and emotional side of you, you became the Nine of Cups. The one thing that I love about this deck of mine, you know, the Nine of Cups, because usually in other decks that I own, the Nine of Cups is a very, very selfish card, because you only want to care about your own emotional well-being. You only want to care about whatever it is that makes you happy. But in this particular deck of mine, we're talking about you have a plan to have a collective happiness with someone. You have a plan to build something grand with someone emotionally, you know, provide emotional stability for someone, and you are willing to learn few stuff when it comes to self-mastery in order for you to make that thing happen, to make that collective happiness that you want happen. So it's a very, very good one. So right now you guys are kind of like standing in that limbo, and rather than fighting, you know, the good and the bad, like you're very, very accepting, okay, so I have this side of me and I also have this side of me, and rather than me choosing side, picking like which one I want to show, I'm just gonna be friends with them, and I'm going to kind of like focus much more on my work, on my money, and I'm just also going to kind of like focus on what I can do to make this relationship grow, because we're talking about number 3 here. In number 3, we're talking about growth, okay? So it's no longer about planning, but you actually want to do something, some sort of actions to make this relationship grow. Dua kartu challenges. What's challenging you? You have the Ace of Cups. Okay, there is no sense of renewal when it comes to this relationship. There is no sense of kind of like overpouring of emotions any longer. I feel like this relationship has kind of like made you bleed to dry, you know what I mean? So there's kind of like a little bit of draining here that is going on with you emotionally. And you also have the Three of Swords in reverse in here. So you could be dealing with a very, very great heartbreaks in the past, and it's very, very hard for you to get over it. You know what I mean? Be careful if you're dealing with someone. You don't look at the new person in the lens that you were seeing your past person with. If your past person kind of like cheated on you, you know, this new person could probably not be doing that to you. So don't bring those past trauma. Just take it as a lesson, but don't then kind of like see the new potential, if you have a new potential in the now, in that same lenses that your ex or your past person actually were doing to you. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's this Three of Swords in reverse, and here it's either you or it's either the other person is still dealing with this very, very much of a heartbreak that makes it very, very hard for one of you to become emotionally available and emotionally vulnerable towards one another. Like that past thing really, really fucks one of you up. This person has the Death card. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, or you could be dealing with a Cancer too. But anyway, with the Death card in here, kind of like talks about this person that you were dealing with. In the past, they were in a major, major transformation. Like they really know, again, same like you know, they really know what it is that has made them very, very destructive in the past. And they were willing to kind of like let go of those. Yes, because they're trying to bring balance back into your life. So you could be dealing with a Sagittarius as well, with a Temperance card in here. Four of Cups in reverse. So this person had like a lot of divine, like a lot of universe intervention or God intervention coming into their life, because changes is due for them. So they had to go through that. You know what I mean? And I feel like this person in the past was kind of like quite isolating themselves a little bit, but I feel like you have the power to make them quite open up to you. So this type of person is someone, in Indonesia we call it pasrah. So if like things are not going good in their life, they're just kind of doing nothing about it. But then I feel like it's God or universe intervention kind of like shocking them, and they became more proactive in life. And I feel like you also have like some sort of power in making them change. You have the Queen of Swords, so you did have like a major, major trust issues when it comes to them. And then you have the Ten of Cups as well. So emotionally, you feel very, very collective happiness. I mean, it's like you guys are actually on the same page, but like you're focusing on a different thing. You know what? The way that I see it here, they're so much focusing on what is going on with them. They're so much focusing on their self-improvement, trying to bring balance back into their life. And you guys are kind of like focusing on you and them. You know what I mean? So it's like on a different phase. You guys are kind of like more evolving than they are, because you care about the collective happiness, whereas they kind of like care about their own self-improvement and stuff like that. They do kind of like exercise like a lot of patience when it comes to you. They open up quite a bit towards you too in the past. It's very, very rare for them to do this, because they do have like, same like you, they have like a major, major trust issues, and they don't open up to strangers or new people very, very easily. But I feel like you guys have the power to push them to make them open up to you, which I love about it. 5 kartu masa sekarang. So you could be dealing with one person, or you could be dealing with two people. I'm going to be telling it if it's like a two-person scenario, two people scenario first, okay? So person A was someone who needed to transform themselves in some ways. And by them kind of like transforming, like they dragged you into it up to the point that they kind of like give you like a lot of trust issues when it comes to a relationship. And then you were dealing with someone, person B, who is much more balanced, like who already got their life together. Like they already get their life together, and you kind of like felt collective happiness towards them. With this person B who already got all their life together, you kind of like became open up and kind of like letting go of the trust issues that you have with the person A, who really, really burn you. That makes you have like a lot of trust issues, like this Queen of Snow White here. Okay, the past person might, this person, and it's in the present card, so it could be happening in the 20 or 30 October, or it's already happening, mean that this person is going to kind of like come into your life and disrupt the stabilities of the four that you've been very much trying to attain. You know what I mean? Because right now you have the Four of Swords, so you kind of like felt stable in some ways. You're so much focusing on building like a stability for you relationship wise and also money wise. Like you're trying to kind of like make everything neat and it in its place and try to make it stable. And somehow this person is kind of going to kind of like walk into your life, in which is going to kind of like piss you off in some ways. You have the Emperor card in reverse in here. The Emperor card in my Japanese tarot is been symbolized by the war. Why? Because it also kind of like emphasizes or showcase the Emperor needs to protect. You know what I mean? So I feel like you will be feeling very, very overprotective when it comes to your stabilities. You don't want this person to kind of like ruin this relationship that you have again. Okay, so you became very, very like the Emperor card in reverse. Be careful of giving in into your impulses with dealing with this Nine of Wands here. The Knight of Wands is the energy that is coming and going. This is a very, very youthful person. It doesn't have a staying energy in it, you know what I mean? And I feel like the someone here, person B, who actually is very, very temperate, who is very, very much stable towards you. Like this person kind of like fell, like things has not been standing on an even keel. Like this person got their life together in the past, but I feel like right now, you know, they're kind of like losing balance a little bit. And I feel like with this person, you see their value and you were willing to, although the chances or the opportunities are still very small, like you have a very, very great faith in it. You know what I mean? Because emotionally you are already very much invested to it. So you have a really great faith in it. If you're only dealing with one person, I feel like you guys are always focusing on stabilities. You know what I mean? Because you have the Four of Cups in here and then you have the Four of Wands. Four is something stable. Four is building something that is just solid, stable. And sometimes for you to kind of like evolved or gain into becoming six, a much more stable, victorious feeling, it has to be shattered by five. And I feel like it's what's going to kind of like come and happening in here. Both of you are being represented by a very, very masculine energy. And it's not gender specific, but they're very masculine and you are very masculine. This person, if you're only dealing with one person, is someone who has the energy of coming and going. You know what I mean? Someone who is very, very lighthearted. Someone who is like, okay, you need me, I'll be there. But then after that, like, I'm going to go somewhere. And it's not because they're playing. It's not just because they're playing. It's because they need that. They need like a lot of space to roam. And they need like a home for them to kind of like come home to. Which I feel like is going to kind of like piss you off in some ways. The Emperor card in reverse in here. Because you felt like they're not being appreciated enough for you. And you need them to be in your life more than them kind of like roaming around. But on the other hand, you still have a big faith and believe that if you are wanting to invest in this relationship and do the tedious work to make this relationship work, it will actually still and very much still can happen. This person doesn't have like their life together just in the now. I feel like there's like a lot of things that is going on in their life that makes them kind of like quite imbalanced. And I feel like that's one of the reasons why they have the energy of coming and going, because they could not make this relationship a priority. Like they cannot be with you like 24/7 because they have other areas in their life that they need to sort out because life has not been very, very balanced for them. And then now let's see the future. Right. The thing about the Knight of Wands, again, as I said, because it has the energy of coming and going, it has a very, very youthful energy. It also doesn't have an energy of commitment, you know what I mean? I feel like what's cheating for you, it's different than what's cheating for them. I mean, people have a wide range of definition when it comes to cheating, right? And I feel like they have the Seven of Swords in here, especially if you're dealing with two people. If you're expecting that this person is going to be loyal to you, person A, I don't feel like they could do that. I just don't feel like they could do that. Cancer. Because they're still very, very youthful. They're still very young, spiritually, morally, and everything like that. They're still very, very adventurous deep down inside. That's just going to make you have like a full stop when it comes to pursuing something with them, because you see that the destination that you're heading to is not as interested as it was in the past. Don't let this, if you're dealing with two people, don't let this person kind of like make you stressed again, Cancer, because you have the Six of Swords. You have the needs to flee. You have the needs to kind of like stay away because you need to kind of like regroup yourself. But by doing so, you kind of like is living behind someone here who actually does have like a lot of feels towards you. So be careful if you're dealing with two people. Don't like you already now know in the now like how they are. So kind of like mentally prepare yourself when that happens so that you don't lose a diamond, because this person who already have their life together in here is very, very much more of a diamond because they want to have something with you. But they kind of like felt unloved by you a little bit. They kind of like felt a little bit I'm not gonna say ignored, but not prioritized, because you guys are kind of like focusing so much on your money as well. Yeah. Thus, if you're dealing with two people, person B could also kind of like be taking or having like a no contact period, or kind of like snatching away their attention and their affections that they're giving to you as a way of a passive aggressiveness type of thing. But I feel like you're not going to have it because it's just too much headache on you, and you guys are going to be focusing much more on your money. Okay? If you're dealing with one person, this person does have the tendency to do something that you see as cheating. And then there's not going to be an equal give and take in here. It's like dating men, I feel like your love languages is kind of like quite different from one another. You know what I mean? Like they need something and you give them something different. You need something and they give you something entirely different. And it's just like both of your efforts and actions are being met like this. So, and ideally it's like it's supposed to kind of like meet in the middle. You know what I mean? But it's just like this. Because of this differences. I'm not going to say it's incompatible. I think like this is something that you can actually work on, but you just need to kind of like communicate what is it that you need to feel safe and secure and stable emotionally, and they also kind of like need to communicate what is it that they need from you to do. Expectations, what they need and everything like that, because it is actually workable if you're dealing with one person. And even if you're dealing with two people, person B is still in here. Like they're kind of like only pulling away for as a mean of passive aggressiveness and stuff like that, to gain your attention. So just to gain your attention, I want to know here. Where is it? So Justice card in reverse here for. Yeah, I mean, they're so emotionally invested in you that there's just like a lot of miscommunication and misunderstanding and differences in love languages that I see happening in here. Like they felt quite unloved by you, although like here I know that you guys are emotionally invested in this relationship, and I know that you guys see this relationship as somewhat of a value to you, but they don't feel it. You know what I mean? They just don't feel it. They just don't feel it, and now they're kind of like plotting to gain your attention, because they just don't feel that they're a priority, whereas they are actually a priority, you know. Okay, so I think that's it for my reading for you guys. Hope you guys enjoy, and I'll see you guys again in 1 week from now. Bye-bye.